If not us, who? And if not now, when?
The following is an EHC media production.
We gotta be doing something great.
It's time. It's time.
Who are you trying to kid?
I do not give a damn.
Because you're too scared to do the job your goddamn self.
I need someone that's like, has that, some energy in them.
You guys know nothing about me.
I'm gonna take you out.
Promo climax time. Promo climax. You're all on fucking notice.
Either you rise or you fall. Rise or you fall. Either you rise or you fall.
So many characters.
Bob, but my name's Billy. It doesn't matter what your name is.
So many storylines.
It's me, Austin. It was me all along, Austin.
Find out the backstory of every name, every move, every story on Ring Psychology. Every switchblade needs his switch babe.
Hey guys, how are you doing today? I hope you're having a wonderful day. And welcome to episode 6 of Talking Strong Style with the Switch Babe. I'm your resident OG Switch Babe, Courtney. And today we've got a lot to get into. This episode is going to be very Jon Moxley heavy. It's going to be very AEW heavy, as well as New Japan, covering what's going to happen next week at Best of the Super Juniors finals, and a little bit of Impact. And let's just dive right into it. But we got to cover this first. Jon Moxley, the former Dean Ambrose in WWE, did an interview with Chris Jericho on his Talk is Jericho podcast. And if you haven't listened to that, you need to as a fan, because this is going to give you a new appreciation for the shit that they go through in WWE. He was talking about physical depression symptoms that he was going through, going to work, talking about, you know, he lost his passion for what he does, which is really sad to hear, because as someone who is much like him, in love with pro wrestling, who thinks about wrestling 24/7, who, you know, thinks of better ways to book angles, who thinks of things that guys could do in the ring, you know, like, we're much in the same boat on that. And to hear that WWE and ultimately Vince McMahon and creative just drained the life out of him in that regard, it's really saddening. And it brings home a point that I've been stating for years, that you're writing for an audience of one. when you write for WWE. You're writing for the old man. You're not writing for Stephanie or Triple H. They may get some say in what happens, but ultimately it lies at the feet of Vincent Kennedy McMahon. And from the gas mask to the pooper scooper segment to even what was the most heartbreaking out of all of this was the comment about Roman's cancer that he didn't want to do. Like, that just broke my heart. And a lot of people are, you know, comparing this to the CM Punk interview. And, you know, it does bring home a lot of the points that CM Punk stated. But this was not coming from a place of malcontent and maliciousness. This was coming from a place of, this place legitimately drained the life out of me, and I want it just to be known so that maybe this could change things. I think that that's where he's going with this, is that he maybe hopes that this could change things a little bit, and it could open some eyes to see, you know, what goes on behind the scenes and to appreciate what those guys go through. Because those guys, every time they take a bump, they're taking a risk with their body for your entertainment. And there's a lot of fans online that are quick to jump on wrestlers on Twitter and troll them and everything else. And you don't realize what they're going through. They could be going through the same thing that Jon Moxley was going through. And that's why I'm always about positivity and not being a troll and not being that type of person. And, you know, and another highlight of that interview for me was him talking about his love for Renee and how Renee is the only thing in the world that he loves more than wrestling. And that was just like the, aw, he's such a sweetheart moment. I'm like, you're out here killing your own gimmick, dude. But I think it's adorable. And him especially looking out for Renee, making sure that he did things the right way. He went about asking for his release the right way and not renewing. You know, the fact that he went about things the right way to look out for his wife speaks volumes of his character. It says that this is a good man who deserves to have that creative satisfaction. And the fact that he drove home the point that if the world fell down around them, they'll just take off in their RV and they'll be okay. That just speaks to how strong that their bond and their relationship is. And it was just another amazing insight to get, because he doesn't use social media at all. He has somebody doing his social media for him, which we learned in that interview. You know, to get to see that side of him outside of the lunatic fringe or the crazy Jon Moxley side, to get to see that side was just amazing. And the moment where he was like, if you want to be a dentist, go be a dentist. If you want to be an elf, go be an elf. You know, like, that moment was just awesome. Like, that was just some motivational advice that, you know, you don't have to fit into whatever box the world tries to put you in. If you don't fit in that box, then jump the fuck out of it and do you. And that was just beautiful. And it just goes to show that someday Jon Moxley is going to make an excellent dad, because a lot of the things that he was saying are things that a good father would tell their kid. And here we get to the point where I get to say, I told you so, because everybody online was telling me I was insane for thinking that the Jon Moxley video could be pulled off without a WWE budget. And what a lot of people don't realize is a lot of these content creators that are YouTubers, that are wrestlers, they're using an iPhone 10 to create their content. And it's not that hard anymore. Technology has made it cheaper and easier to produce high quality content like that. And Jon Moxley did it for $8,000, which I'm still sitting here like, $8,000? Damn, you got a good deal, dude. So overall, what should come out of this interview is that things need to change in WWE, But sadly, I don't think that that's going to happen until either, unfortunately, the old man passes away, or until he retires and hands over the reins to Triple H. And Triple H is frustrated. You know, there are stories about him consoling NXT talent that have been just ruined by Vince's creative direction. And hopefully that happens soon with the XFL taking off and Vince has a shiny new toy to play with. So, you know, I just wish nothing but the best for John. Like, he literally took a breath of fresh air when he came out at All In. And that moment where he's finally standing upon the poker chips on the stage and he just extends his arms out, it was like the Shawshank Redemption, but wrestling. And now all of that makes sense. All of that body language makes sense that I was seeing for years that made me so sad to see, because I could tell he wasn't into it. I could tell he just wasn't into it. So bravo, Jon Moxley. I'm glad you're finally free. And that brings us to Double or Nothing, AEW's very first pay-per-view that they put on. It was in Las Vegas. It was sold out, and the crowd was raucous all night throughout the night. It was amazing. I got chills so many times. You know, like there were moments like when Jimmy Havoc came out, you know, like I got chills because I've been a Jimmy Havoc fan for years. And I always said that he had what it took to become a major star. And here he is, you know, on this huge platform in front of, you know, I don't know how many people we haven't got buy rates yet, but probably in front of millions of people worldwide. And it was just a beautiful moment to see. And, you know, his spot in that match where he stapled the lit cigarette to Joey Janela's forehead, I was just sitting at home like, you sick fuck. But what are you going to do? It's Jimmy Havoc, right? And also in that Battle Royal, we had Orange Cassidy, who I love Orange Cassidy. Okay, guys? He just had that moment, and it's just amazing once again to see these guys that you believed in and that you have had faith in for a while, and to see them get this spotlight is just amazing, and it's so gratifying as someone who, you know, follows independent wrestling and follows smaller promotions, to see these guys from smaller promotions move up in the world of wrestling. Like, it's just so gratifying. And, you know, that whole Battle Royal was just amazing. And then Hangman Page coming out and winning was just amazing. And I just can't wait to see who is gonna take on Hangman Page. I just cannot wait to see that, which we'll get to that a little bit later. And also in this MJF trying to sneak back in and win, you sneaky son of a bitch. But, you know, I love to hate MJF. Like, MJF is one of those heels that I just love to hate because he does the most fucked up shit. Like, he has his DMs open, and one girl sent him a DM, you know, saying that she thought he was great, and he was like, eat shit and die. Like, he lives the gimmick, and I love him for it. So that's the Battle Royal. And we had Kip Sabian versus Sammy Guevara. They tore the house down, and Kip Sabian is going to be very popular with the ladies. He went out at that presser with the Calvin showing, and all of the girls on my timeline are flipping their shit. They're like, who is he? Who is he? We need to know more. We need to know more. And I'm like, way to go, Kip. Bring him in. Then we had Strong Hearts versus SCU, and that was just amazing. These Strong Hearts guys, Seema, T-Hawk, and Lindemann, are just so amazingly talented, and this style that they have come up with is just something so new and refreshing, which is hard to do in wrestling. It's hard to come up with a new style. It's hard to find something that makes you unique. And SCU getting that huge SCU pop was just brilliant, and it was just another beautiful match. And to be honest, this entire card was just straight fire. And to see SCU getting that victory was just amazing. You know, especially someone who's been a Kaz and Daniels girl for years, since way back in their TNA days. It's just really amazing to see them get that huge platform that they so richly deserve. Then we move on to what was supposed to be a four-way, and then we think we're going to get somebody out there, and then and Brandy comes out and brings out Awesome Kong. Because, I thought for sure, because Brandy came out in gear, I thought for sure it was going to be her. But no, it was Awesome Kong, and it was just amazing to get to see her finally back in a ring on that big stage that she deserves after what happened to her with WWE and how they treated her, you know, after she lost a baby. You know, it's just, that's one of those things where the universe kind of made that situation right, and she deserves it because Kia has been killing it. She is on Glow as Welfare Queen, and she deserves to kill it. And Kylie Ray is just adorable. I love Kylie Ray. I love Smiley Kylie and how excited she is. And Nyla Rose breaking down those barriers, being the first transgender female in, you know, signed to AEW, you know, that's amazing to see as someone who is a part of the LGBTQ community. It's amazing to see that, you know, my community is getting shown some love. And she did very well in that match. And Britt Baker, what can I say about Britt Baker that hasn't already been said? Woman put herself through dental school while wrestling. She is gorgeous. She has the charisma. She has the talent. Girlfriend is a winner. And plus she got Adam Cole, baby. So, girl, you doing all right for yourself. And these ladies just killed it in this match. And Britt Baker getting that win, you know, was just so gratifying just to know how hard she has worked. Because, like I said, she did put herself through dental school when she was wrestling. And that just shows some hardcore drive and determination to better yourself and better your life. And you can't help but root for someone like that. Then we move on to the match where AEW said, F your feelings, girl, because we got best friends, Dustin and Greg, Trent and Chucky T versus Angelico and Jack Evans. And I adore both of these teams. I love the best friends, the holding hands, the, you know, just this bromance that Dustin and Greg have is just amazing. And their entrance video was freaking cool. Like the ghosts and stuff. Just bravo, guys. And Angelico and Jack Evans are just crazy as hell. Like, they go out there and they pull off some shit that I'm just sitting here still looking like, okay, how did you do that again? And I'll have to, like, slow things down frame by frame to see, oh, that's how they did it. And just to see, once again, these guys given the spotlight was just once again, it was beautiful. And to see the best friends get that victory, that was pretty freaking sweet. Then we move on to the Joshi match, which was Hikaru Shida, Riho Abe, Ryo Mitsunami, Aja Kong, Yuka Sakazaki, and Emi Sakura. And these ladies killed it. And I knew that they would, because as someone who watches Stardom and who is getting into Joshi, I understand that these girls are going to go out there and kill it. And we didn't know if we were going to get this match up until very close to the show. You know, there was a rumor going around that the Joshi match was cut, and a lot of people were getting upset, but they ended up doing it. And to see Aja Kong, the legend Aja Kong, out there, just brilliant. And the one star that I'm seeing being made out of this is Hikaru Shida. I keep seeing her name, you know, over and over on my timeline of everybody talking about how they adore her and they love her. And that's a very good thing to me, because if we start making some Joshi stars over here and using them the right way, not like how WWE has done with Asuka, Kairi, and Io, we could have a Joshi invasion in the United States, and I'm here for that. The ladies just, they killed it in this match, and you know, Shida's team gets the victory, and it's onwards and upwards for these ladies. Then we get to Cody versus Dustin. Now, this match, I was already crying at the video package. Just such an emotional story of, you know, like the prodigal son and the baby brother who got everything, and you know, the shirt that Dustin wore to the presser that was Dusty's favorite. You know, like just this feud was just so personal. It was a literal blood feud because we got a lot of blood. I think Dustin maybe bladed a little bit too hard. And, you know, it got uncomfortable for me at points because I'm sitting here like, why isn't there a towel being brought in? Why isn't there a medic just to check on him? Because, you know, if he would have gone out there like 30 more minutes, he probably would have passed out. That was a lot of blood, and it was kind of tough to watch. But, you know, those guys, they ended up going out there and killing it, and Cody gets the victory, and afterwards says that he has this match with the Young Bucks that he's got signed, and he didn't need a tag team partner, he needed his big brother. And that's when everybody just, we all lost our shit crying. Like, if you didn't cry in that moment and you're a wrestling fan, you do not have a soul. Like, that was just one of those beautiful, bittersweet type moments that make wrestling beautiful. And despite the fact that there was a lot of blood and everything else, you know, it was still a well-told story, and it was just beautiful. And I almost forgot, before the match, we have this entrance with Cody where there's a throne that's obviously meant to be Triple H's, and Brandy grabs the sledgehammer and hands it to Cody, and then Cody goes and destroys it with an assist from some pyro and special effects. But, you know, I don't really blame him for that, but I do caution him to not go too hard, because once you go too hard, you know, you may end up creating a situation where WWE tries to mess with you a lot more than they already are. So just, it was an awesome moment, but, you know, just use caution going that far. You know, and he even said that he knew he burned a bridge that he knows he never may be able to build back again. And, you know, at least he's self-aware of it, you know, because if he wasn't self-aware, I'd be kind of worried. But once again, beautiful, beautiful match. Then we had the AEW Championship presentation with Bret Hart, and that belt is gorgeous. Like, the only other belt that beats it is the IWGP Heavyweight title. It looks like a real sports belt. It doesn't look like cheesy and plastic and fake like a lot of the WWE belts do. It looks gorgeous. And whoever designed that, shout out to you, because you did an amazing job, friend. And then we had MJF come out again, once again, you prick. And he started insulting Hart, you know, talked about the Hall of Fame incident. Then we have our heroes. We have Jungle Boy and Jimmy Havoc come out and and just kick his ass. And that was awesome. Next we have the Lucha Brothers and the Young Bucks. All I can say about this match is that this was a banger, and you need to go and check it out. Like, there's just so much in that match that I just cannot cover. And the Young Bucks getting that victory is just too sweet. And what's funny is they did the Young Bucks dollars, like kind of like Okada's entrance a little bit. And today, Matt Jackson actually looked up on eBay, and people are selling those Young Bucks dollars for like $10 or $20 a piece. Like, that is insanity. Then we get to Kenny Omega versus Chris Jericho. This match was brutal as hell. Like, Kenny broke his nose. All kind of crazy shit is happening. And then here's where Jon Moxley comes in. Because after we see Chris Jericho defeat Omega and he's demanding his thank you, we get Jon Moxley coming through the crowd, and the crowd is all going, holy shit, holy shit. And I was screaming at home. And we see him just beat the shit out of Jericho and Omega, and then throw Omega off the poker chips on the stage, which was just brilliant. So once again, bravo. AEW Double or Nothing, you guys knocked it out the park. And Best of Super Juniors is continuing in New Japan, and next week we have Best of Super Juniors Finals with Jay versus Tana, and a whole lot more stuff. And Jon Moxley is actually headed to New Japan to face Juice Robinson for the U.S. title. That's just going to be brilliant, and I can't wait for it. Now we move on to Impact. We have Killer Cross versus Eddie Edwards this week. I'm really looking forward to that. I'm sitting here on a Thursday like, why can't it be Friday already? Just can't wait to see that. And that brings me to Ask the Switch Babe. I know the episode was very AEW, very Jon Moxley heavy, but it was kind of necessary. And just the Best of Super Juniors is just killing it so much that if I sat here and covered everything I needed to cover on that, like, we'd be here all day. And I'm not going to bore you with that. But I will tell you that ELP and Shingo Takagi are freaking killing this tournament. And it's going to come down to one of those two. I truly believe it. And let's just hope that Headbang Club reigns supreme. So, let's get into some questions from you guys. Let's go to the hashtag. And we have a question from Dazzy, the captain, from Max Wrestling UK and the Four Corner Network family. And he says, with Moxley facing Juice and Jericho facing Okada, do you see more AEW stars still working with NJPW? Now, it was said that there is no working relationship between AEW by, I think, New Japan. So I think what this is a case of is, like, Moxley's contract with AEW is apparently exclusive full-time whenever AEW goes to TNT in the fall. So what I'm thinking is they're just letting, these AEW guys come and work, when they can, when AEW is on a light schedule. And we're just going to have to wait and see. I would definitely want, that to be an option for AEW talent. But at the same time, I want Gato to look out for Gato's boys first and not just let them overrun your company and just win everything. Because I think Jericho winning the title at Dominion this year would be a big mistake, because that belt has been kind of hurt a little bit by the one defense and you're done reign that we've had here lately. So we need kind of some stability to come back to that belt. So hopefully a type of relationship like that could work out for both parties, and both parties end up receiving the dividends from it. And that's all we can hope for, really. At the end of the day, it's the best for everyone. And my second question is from Andrew914. Did you prefer the TNA knockouts or WWE Divas of 2010? I definitely prefer the knockouts. The knockouts were bringing it. They were killing it every week. They were getting that TV time. They were getting pay-per-view time. They were kicking those girls' ass. And it wasn't the Divas' fault. It was, creative in the direction and how they were being used and how they were being trained back then. Because back then they didn't get a lot of training, especially if they looked really good. Like, they would get called up really quick and they wouldn't be able to pull off what the knockouts were doing because they didn't have that training. So it's really not their fault. But definitely the knockouts by a mile. And that brings me to the end of this week's show. I know it was really AEW heavy, really Moxley heavy, but it was kind of necessary because both of those stories are they're historic from a wrestling history perspective. And I have a feeling this Moxley interview is going to be historic one day. It's going to be something that we're going to be talking about for ages. And Double or Nothing as well. It's going to be something that we're going to be talking about for a long time in many years to come. And I also wanted to, because this is the last week in May, and it is Mental Health Awareness Month, I just want to say that, once again, if you're struggling, the DMs are open on Twitter, and, just know that you are enough and that you are loved. And I want to give a shout out to one of my dear, dear close friends on Twitter, Maddie, typical Aussie 30. He has been killing it in that regard. He has been, lifting people up, talking to people, and I just think that he deserves a special shout out for it. And I just love Australia and the people in general. And so I guess with that being said, Aussie, 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 oi, oi, oi. And with all of that being said, we're at the end of the journey. And once again, I love you. You're enough. And follow me at AXIMILI55 and at SwitchBabe Pod on both Twitter and Instagram. And until then, peace.